live. But we're going to talk about this because we were in such deep discussion last night. It was actually a good, we like to think of unique things and throw them into situations. We were talking about ecological acronyms, basically leftover things like the best one I've got is this avocado. I made a little short video about it and basically explain how this this should not exist, at least not how we know it. And the reason for that is the reason, and I'm just going to start to explain it, is the reason this looks the way it does is big and can be eaten whole is because evolution, I'm gonna use that here, pushed it in a direction to be that way to have great success because of the animals that they were around. And that would be the giant sloth and the mammoth at the time were eating these as one of their main staples, and they were helping them reproduce. Now, I'm going to say about 10,000 years ago, maybe a little further back, 10 to 13, there was a time when those animals started dying off and then completely died off. This was the Pleistocene epoch is the era we're talking about there. And then that's normally when we would see a lot of the food the animals eat die off as well. And we've got some records of that type stuff happening. But what's unique about this is right during that time, one of the reasons that those animals phased out was because of humans, and it's also the animal that picked up the avocado and decided to keep planting it and decided to carry on with the avocado and train the avocado and keep it growing. So that's why we have them today. They were called several things. I can't even pronounce the early and Aztec Mayan names. I tried to. It's terrible. I can tell you that they used to be called alligator pears before in the 1900s. Farmers in California started calling them avocados and selling them as avocados, where they really, had a big influence on things like the California sandwich or a California burger. That's generally referring to a slice of avocado, and you can find that nowadays as well. But yep, I wanted to explain that situation about the avocado. I'm going to be uploading that whole thing and why that kind of ties into the research that I do, and why it was a good conversation is because these ecological acronyms, it's a terrible name, but basically it's how things survive that shouldn't survive in a really harsh environment, and that's that's just a good example of how, and someone was saying, we were kind of playing with the idea of consciousness being a leftover type of ecological acronym, something that we really needed more back in the day than we need now. Sight, smell, hearing, being aware, they are important now, but if you peel back the layers of time, they were even much more absolutely crucial to your survival. So they developed more back in that time than we are developing them now. Back then, I feel like it became more like, a way of art. But thank you for coming in. Much appreciated. Avocado toast. Heck yeah. Anyways, that's my story about the avocado and why it shouldn't exist. I'll tell you guys now, since I got 13 people on you. It was made during a time, it was evolved for giant sloths and for mammoths to eat primarily. And those animals died off during something what we call the Pleistocene epoch. It's a time about 10 to 13,000 years ago. The hunter and gatherers were kind of starting to evolve a bit and killing those animals off. And it was at that time that this should have kind of disappeared. And it did not. And the reason for that is really when us hunters, as gatherers, started planting seeds to produce more started. They didn't look like this. I can't even pronounce the early names. It was like aguacatal or something like that. It was Aztec and Mayan. Later, it was called the alligator pear. And then in the 1900s, California farmers called it the avocado. That's really where it took off with its name. That's what I got. The reason that we talk about it on my channel, anyways, is it's something called an ecological acronymism. It's something very unique that happens when how environment and nature and evolution treat things that fall off giant scale. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. But yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining. Like I said, just here to wish everybody a happy new year. I'm glad everybody here came. I do these all the time. Thank you.